This is cashew nuts, and it falls under the fat group. Let's estimate how much calories we have in cashew. So cashew nut falls where? The fat group, I said. And one exchange in the fat group is equivalent to what? 45 calories. So how much is one exchange for cashew nuts? All right, so sorry I didn't find the one that is whole, but if that is what you have, then 5 whole cashew nuts, 5 whole big cashew nuts is equivalent to one exchange in the fat group, that is 45 calories. If you have watched the video on granules is 10 because they are smaller in size, but for cashew nuts 5 is equivalent to one exchange that will give you 45 calories. So if you have up to 5, then you have one exchange in the fat group that will give you 45 calories. But since I don't have, I will just count the halves. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So here we go. I have what? One exchange in the fat group, and this is equivalent to what? 45 calories. Now, how much should you eat? That depends on what you have in your plan or what you intend to achieve. Usually the regular term says a handful of nuts. My own handful. Hands are in different sizes. So don't ask someone to give you handful. For instance, when we say handful and your fist is like mine, then this is my own handful. That is what we recommend. But when your own hands are wider and bigger, that means you are bigger than I am. So yes, your own handful, follow it. That is the normal regular rule of thumb. So just a handful is what you should take. Why? Because this is in the fat group. If you eat too much nuts, you're going to be taking too much fat and oil. And remember that you can also cook. You're going to cook with oil. You're going to cook your foods, your rice, your soups, your stews. You're going to add oil to it. So when you take too much nuts and cook with too much oil, you're going to be taking too much calories that you may end up not burning, and that will lead to what? Weight gain. It can even lead to heart problems. When you store up a lot of calories that you don't use, you don't burn, that is the problem. If not, if you're very active, there is no problem. You don't have to follow the rule of thumb that says a handful, because what I tell people is, yes, if you don't want to be restricted, you don't want to be limited, you don't want to be told how much to eat, then burn it. If you can burn it, you can eat it. So if you're very active, if you take as much as 3,000 steps, if you lift weight, if you do so much, if you're up and doing, you're burning calories every time, then you can take more than 1 or 2 handfuls of nuts. So I'm not saying don't eat nuts. Moderation is just key. Do you know the principle of nutrition? It says eat a variety of foods balanced by a moderate intake of each. Yes, variety is the spice of life. So do you know one way you can enjoy your cashew nuts, especially when you don't want to overeat? So this is what I do, like the handful. When I have cereals, I just pour it into my cereals or into my puddings and enjoy my nuts. They are healthy. You should eat nuts.